Welcome to Brudiclad. As far as opening hand goes, yes, we're going to keep on this one. I like it. We got some scry action, some scurry, some fever. We've got a little bit of artifact and damage with the braid. That's going to definitely allow us to at least keep Jhoira in check as far as any sort of artifacts, or simply just keep her off the battlefield. We have some ramp. We have a way to make some copies of some creatures, some tokens, and mechanized production. This is a beautiful opening hand. I love it. The only thing would be better is if we draw in the Soul Ring. We don't. It's always fun calling stuff like that sometimes. Let's get down Temple of Epiphany. Let's get the scry going. The scurry, the fever, the insanity. Do we want steam vents? I think that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we'll go and put that on the bottom for it. Yeah, see if we can't draw into some sort of card advantage, because we're going to be able to get a Mind Stone. We'll definitely be able to hit that 6 land for Brudiclad. So we'll definitely put that on the bottom and then go from there. But yes, we are playing Brudiclad. Hope you're excited to get some tokens going. Creature tokens you control have haste. Then at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 2/1 blue mirror artifact creature token. Then you may choose a token you control. If you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. We're playing against Jhoira. Whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card. And they're off to, opponent's off to a pretty nice start. It's going to get down... Nothing we need for... No, we do need to get down Mind Stone, 100%. Let's get down Island. Let's go for Mind Stone. And then anything else, pass it back over to our opponent. So if our opponent does end up going for Jhoira for next turn, we'll definitely be going for a Braid that will allow us to get rid of Jhoira. We could have gone for a Braid on Mana Vault, but at least at this point, we want to have them cast Jhoira. We want to get that commander tax going, and then once they do tap down Mana Vault, they're going to have to, at some point, pay that 4 mana to untap it. So we're okay with, at least waiting for that particular line of play. If we try to destroy Mana Vault that quick, then they're still going to get to Jhoira, and we have no answer for Jhoira with a ton of artifacts on the battlefield, which is not something that you really want to happen. And I think my mic was down just a little bit, so if the audio is kind of weird, I just turned it up just a little bit. And then let's see what we draw into. Draw into Wandering. Yeah, let's go ahead and go for that line of play I was talking about. Let's get down Sulphur Falls. Let's go for a Braid. Destroy target creature, or excuse me, deal 3 damage to target creature. And then we can still represent some sort of blue counter magic. So we're going to Braid Jhoira, send her back to the command zone, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn. Now, as far as the deck goes, there hadn't been too many updates to this deck since last time. We did add a few more ways to kind of generate some non-traditional tokens, like clue tokens. We added the Trail of Evidence. That's whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, we get a clue token. And that pretty much acts as the second, third, fourth, fifth copy of Young Pyromancer, Murmuring Mystic, Talran, different things like that. And we also added the 5 mana Confirmed Suspicions. It's 5 mana counter target spell, get 3 clue tokens on the battlefield. For some reason, whenever I built this Brudiclad deck, I skipped over the clue tokens because I think in my head, I forgot that even though, you read the commander, sometimes your brain gets stuck on a certain way to build something. I forgot that the clue tokens could turn into, tokens that can attack. So I was so excited to get in Trail of Evidence into the deck. It's a really cool card. So we draw into Imperial Recruiter. So that's definitely going to be something we want to grab with a Young Pyromancer. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. I'm almost tempted to go for Mechanized Production on Mind Stone. I really like going for that. It'll be a little slow, but I think that'll work. And then we can write a replication on Young Pyromancer for a ton of tokens. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so let's go for Mechanized Production on Mind Stone. Let's get the island down. Mechanized Production on Mind Stone. That's going to be double blue. I guess technically... Yeah, we'll just go and tap down Mind Stone. All right, so we're going to enchant the artifact. At the beginning of our upkeep, we're going to get a token that's a copy of it. That's going to give us some extra mana and give us some extra action to go with Imperial Recruiter. Depending on how we want to do this, we get down Brudiclad, that's going to be one way we can get some tokens going. We definitely want to Imperial Recruit for Young Pyromancer because that's going to give us the opportunity to build up a board state for Brudiclad. Now, what we can do is we can wait. The way this deck is set up, if you haven't seen this deck before, is we like to get as many tokens on the battlefield and still kind of push our original game plan of just kind of being a nice tempo deck. Something like a blue-red prowess deck, some sort of Delver deck. And the way we can really kind of go for a win is by getting all these extra tokens, Young Pyromancer, Talran, doing stuff that we normally want to do, going for a Braid. And then once we get down Brudiclad, we can, have a nice token army. And then we can use something like Rite of Replication to turn our entire army into some sort of finisher creature. Now, unfortunately, with us playing against Jhoira, this is going to be a little bit more of a kind of a pieces deck to where they're not necessarily going to have, well, we'll see what they have built, but at least as far as my Jhoira deck is, it's really just more of kind of like a do busted things deck. So Rite of Replication may not be that good against our opponent's deck. Typically, if you have Rite of Replication and you're playing against some sort of green base deck, you want to hold on to that right until they get down their big green finisher. Unless it's Crater Hoof, then that's not going to be fun. But you can use Rite of Replication to make a really nice army for you. So let's go and get Mechanized production going. Even if we don't win the game with tokens, if we get 8 more Mind Stones on the battlefield, and I think it's 10. Yeah, 8 or more, then we'll... actually, if we can go for Brudiclad, yeah, I think we kind of want to do that. That'd be a lot of fun. All right, so let's get down Mountain. So we've got a copy of Mind Stone. Let's go for Imperial Recruiter. Yeah, let's do that. So let's go for Imperial Recruiter. That's going to be 1, 2. That'll allow us to get down Young Pyromancer. That's pretty much what we want to grab, and I think that's pretty much the only line of play that we're actually going for. So we could go for Fairy Artisans. That'll allow us to get some tokens. Not really want that. Murmuring Mystic's going to be a pretty good chunk of mana. I feel like we can do the same thing with Young Pyromancer and get it down this turn. So let's go for Young Pyromancer. Actually, if you want to, we go for Shahili. That'll allow us to deal some damage. I love that we're going to have Battling Shahilis in the blue-red artifact deck. So it's going to get down Shahili. Yeah, we can get down Young Pyromancer next turn and basically kind of accomplish the same thing. Let's go ahead and go for the +1. Deals 1 damage to each opponent. And we're going to get the Scry. That way, hopefully we can draw into something that... Ooh, Skull. Yeah, put that on top. Then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yeah, so I think as far as our game plan now is we just need to get a bunch of tokens on the battlefield, because that's the fun thing with Brudiclad that I didn't keep in mind with my original build, is that at the beginning of your combat of your turn, then choose a token you control. If you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. So as long as we can just get to the magic number of 8, we can get enough Mind Stones going. So let's see. So at the beginning of your upkeep, then if you control 8 or more artifacts. So that does kind of delay us for a turn, but I like going for a Mechanized production win. I think that'd be pretty fun. And now, if they do deal with Mechanized production, so be it. But at this point right now, it looks like we're in a pretty good position to hopefully get down Young Pyromancer and get some more stuff moving. We'll at least be able to go for Young Pyromancer next turn, get down the Skull Clamp, and then go for Rite of Replication and just start really drawing a ton of cards to hopefully really amplify these Mind Stones out. And our opponent's board, Jhoira can be pretty busted. At this point right now, with just Trinket Mage, Jhoira, and the Ethereum Sculptor, we're in a good spot. They want to swing in for 2. No, that's fine. They can take care of Shahili. Probably going to go for the Scry next turn, and we definitely want to hold on to Imperial Recruiter to be some sort of Skull Clamp fodder. I think that would be really nice. We could use Rite of Replication on Imperial Recruiter, but we've got what we needed with Young Pyromancer. So let's go for that Mechanized production. Oh, I love that. You can hear like the little factory they keep crunching those Mind Stones out. Let's get down Skull Clamp. Actually, let's go for Scry first. So we're going to go for the +1. Scry first and deal 1 damage to our opponent. Preordain, definitely want to put that on top. Let's get down Skull Clamp. Let's go for Young Pyromancer. We're going to tap down Mind Stone. And once we get down Young Pyromancer, we can get the Skull Clamp onto Imperial Recruiter. Yeah, and then we can start just drawing away, which I like that. So we're going to definitely draw into another thing that's going to amplify Young Pyromancer. Preordain, okay. Let's get down Arid Mesa. Let's go for Preordain. Scry 2, then draw a card. Let's go and crack Arid Mesa. That way we can just kind of have a fresh Scry. Let's get down Volcanic Island. Let's go for Preordain. At this point right now, we're just trying to build up as many tokens as possible. That way we can set up a really nice Brudiclad win. Or at least use the Brudiclad ability. And then Carekeep, let's go and put both of those on the bottom for right now. And we draw into Mystical Tutor. Nice. Okay, so let's go for Mystical Tutor. We're going to put a card on top of our library. And like I mentioned, at this point, we're just going for as many tokens as possible. And that's going to work out with putting another, I think at this point, we'll just go for another Cantrip. Yeah, and we only have 3 mana, so let's just simply grab another Cantrip. Let's grab Brainstorm. Let's go for the Skull Clamp onto the Elemental token. And then we draw into Mana Vault and Brainstorm. So it's going to get down Mana Vault. That's going to be 1 more mana. And then we'll go for Brainstorm on our opponent's turn just to kind of get a few more cards to go in. Anything else? Yeah, I think we want to go for 1 more Elemental. I know we're kind of chipping away at our Elementals, but I don't think we can get it done by next turn. You know what? Let's wait until next turn. All right, let's just simply just go and pass the turn. We're going to get another mechanized production. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, because then we go for Brainstorm, Rite of Replication next turn. That'll really kind of amplify it out. And then we can, especially with us having Mana Vault down, that'll open us up a lot more on mana. But I absolutely love Brudiclad. If you've not seen Brudiclad, I originally released it on Magic MTG Traders on their YouTube channel, and I think I only have one gameplay video up on my channel at this point right now. But my favorite color is green-black. I really enjoy playing, graveyard-based decks, but when I get to play a blue-red deck, I love making tokens, and I love Jhoira being able to draw a ton of cards. So the fact that Wizards printed some sort of commander that is kind of like a fun combination of both, this is quickly become one of my favorite commander decks to play. I just, like I mentioned, one of the best ways to play Magic is to just get as much value out of your spells as possible, kind of get these 2-for-1s. So the fact that we can turn a Brainstorm into an elemental token, the fact that we can use Skullclamp to draw a bunch of cards, it's just a lot of fun activities to do in this deck. It's kind of like Step Brothers, We're going to put our beds, make our beds into bunk beds, so there's more room for activities. And that's basically what this deck is. So let's see if they're going to swing in. So they are swinging with Trinket Magic at Shahili. Yeah, that's fine. Even if they wanted to, they could push in with Jhoira, and Ethereum Sculptor probably wouldn't block. But if they only push in for 2, we'll take that. So we'll go for the Brainstorm, be able to draw into a few more cards, and then get some good stuff moving. So let's go for... Well, do we want to hold on to Brainstorm for Young Pyromancer? I think we want to do that. Actually, let's wait. Because what we can do is we can go for Rite of Replication on Young Pyromancer. Sorry, I'm trying to sequence the best line of play at the same time, do double Young Pyromancer in my head. And I think it's better if we wait for Young Pyromancer. I like that. Not going to pay for Mana Vault. And then we draw into Mountain. So let's go for Rite of Replication on... First of all, let's see how much mana we got. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 with the land drop. Yeah, that's enough for Brainstorm. And that's enough to get a ton of tokens on the battlefield, too. Yeah, I like that. So we get down Mountain. We go for Scry with Shahili because we cannot make a copy of anything. Yeah, either way, we're going to have to go for that. So we'll go for Shahili. Scry 1, deal 1 damage to each opponent. It's going to put that on the bottom. Yeah, then we can simply just Brainstorm. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go for Rite of Replication on Young Pyromancer. And that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then double blue. And then one more. Okay, so we're going to make a ton of copies of Young Pyromancer. And then we'll be able to go for Brainstorm and get a ton of tokens on the battlefield, allowing us to go for... Oh, look at... Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go for Brainstorm. Look at that. Always yielded these Young Pyromancer triggers. This is great. Let's go for draw 3 cards and put 2 back on top of our hand. Trail of Evidence and Fabricate. Let's go ahead and put Island back on top. Let's put Wandering back on top. I'm going to put Island back on top. Let's go for Fabricate. That way we can kind of shuffle up the top part of our library. Get all these extra tokens. Oh, this is beautiful. Go for Fabricate, and we'll see what sort of artifact we want to grab. I don't think there's really anything that, at this point right now, that's really going to help us. That's super crucial to get. We could just simply just go for Chromatic Lantern. I think at this point, if we just need access to some ton of mana, let's just go and grab Mana Crypt. And let's go and get down Mana Crypt. And then I guess at this point, we'll just get down Trail of Evidence because we want to leave as many tokens on the battlefield. There we go. Get down Mana Crypt, get down the Trail of Evidence, and then anything else. We're going to go pass the turn. Look at those Young Pyromancers. That is beautiful. We're going to pass the turn. They do have 4 cards in their hand, so we could be open to some sort of Cyclonic Rift from our opponent. But I think at this point right now, if they've got Cyclonic Rift, oh... They've got Mystical Tutor. Oh, no. Okay, so we're going to get the Reveal Zone popped up. Oh, no. It's not Game Over. Oh, Vandal Blast. Okay. We can survive that. That gets rid of the Mechanized production line of play that we were going to go for next turn because they destroy the Mind Stone that we've got. But we've got a ton of tokens on the battlefield, which I'll definitely take. And then we'll see what else they get going. But you can see why this deck is so much fun. You know, we get down. Let's say that we got down Trail of Evidence earlier, and we start casting and Preordained, Mystical Tutor, end up with a bunch of clue tokens. We finally get down Brudiclad, and the fun thing about Brudiclad is that it's almost like it has haste in a way. Creature tokens you control have haste, but that is definitely nice. And at the beginning of your combat, its ability triggers at the beginning of combat, so you're going to be able to utilize your commander the turn that it comes down. So it's almost like it has pseudo haste in a way, in that as soon as you're casting it down for 6, you're going to be able to take advantage of it. And that does make a huge difference in Brudiclad, being able to use it the turn that it comes down, because there's a lot of times where you spend a lot of time building up your board state, and you need to close the game out. But opponent did take care of that Vandal Blast. That does cut them off any sort of Cyclonic Rift mana. So depending on what we've got going on for next turn, we'll probably end up simply just going for Brudiclad, and we could turn all of our tokens into Young Pyromancer tokens. Oh. Oh, yes. All right, so unfortunately, we're going to miss out on the Mechanized production. And if we could have got a Mechanized production win earlier, I do apologize. Oh. All right, we'll bounce back. If we could have gotten... Man, I was just sitting there thinking about Brudiclad turning them all into Young Pyromancer tokens. But if we could have gotten a Mechanized production win earlier, I do apologize. It's kind of... you've got different lines of play, and you have these weird alternative win conditions you normally don't play with. It's just kind of hard to sequence certain things in your head to make sure you're doing it as efficiently as possible. We draw to anticipate, which is pretty much the best thing that we'd want to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go ahead and scry one. So we've got ourselves a game. This is interesting. We did some busted stuff, and our opponent definitely took care of it. Ooh, Metallurgic Summonings. That's one way to bounce back with some tokens. And that's pretty much what we're going to have to grab. 1, 2, and then we can still get it down. Yeah, we're going to put that on top. I like that. So let's go put that on top of our library. Let's go for Anticipate. If there's something just super awesome we need to grab with Trail of Evidence, we'll go for that. But at this point, we'll go and grab that. Actually, if we wanted to, we'd go for the clue token if we wanted to do that. Let's grab Metallurgic Summonings. And let's just go and get that down. I feel that's a nice, safe play. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we draw into a little bit more card advantage. We can even go for something like Shahili next turn. This Metallurgic Summonings allows us to kind of build up an entire board state. At least bounce back with some more of our spells. Now, bouncing back from that Blasphemous Act, as far as what we've got in the deck that really allows us to kind of rebound from that, we have a ton of, not a ton, but we have a couple different spells that allow us to tap out and draw a ton of cards. So we have Pull from Tomorrow, we have Stroke of Genius, we also have Expansion and Explosion, which is going to allow us to deal some direct damage to our opponent. So if we can draw into one of these X spells, that will allow us to kind of cash out for a ton of card draw, and at the same time end up with a really nice Metallurgic Summoning. But I've been pleasantly happy with this video. Our opponent's not playing a busted Jhoira deck. Mine's kind of busted. It's just more of like a Cheerios / cast as many artifacts as it's kind of a storm-based deck. Let me put it that way. That's what my Jhoira deck is. So it's kind of refreshing to play something that's had some really nice back and forth. And basically, what's happened in this game, this is pretty much what you want to have. This is the why I play Commander. We get down to Right of Replication, opponent goes for Blasphemous Act. Looks like the game's going to be ours. Next thing you know, we're reset, and we still have 2 Shahili Rays doogling on the battlefield, which is pretty funny. Now our opponent can, if they want to take care of Shahili, then go for the -2 on Master Transmuter, and then allow them to swing in. So we'll kind of see what's going on. And it looks like they went for sacrifice a creature, return target artifact, grave. Let's see what they grabbed. Let's grab the chat log. Oh, I just now saw this. Yeah, for some reason on the chat log, they don't tell you what, they don't tell you when you get a chat notification. And so they brought... Okay, they brought back Ethereum Sculptor back to their hand. Okay, so that's what let's see what we draw into. We can crack a clue token to, River's Rebuke. That is a really nice thing to grab. So let's do this. Let's go for create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature that you control, and then we have to exile it. I still think I like going for the Shahili Ray, +1. We're going to deal 1 damage to our opponent. And with this River's Rebuke, that's really going to allow us to kind of bounce back for next turn. Let's put Darksteel Citadel on the bottom. Yeah, I like going for that. Let's go for River's Rebuke. We're going to choose our opponent. We could try to get down Brudiclad. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go for Brudiclad, because we can sequence this just a little bit differently, I think. Because we need to hold on to River's Rebuke, so we get down Brudiclad. And I think we'll go ahead and turn this clue token into a mirror token. Actually, we're just going to hold on to it, because they have some sort of removal, then they'll get rid of it. So let's get the mirror token on the battlefield. We're simply just going to leave that mirror token with haste. And then we already activated Shahili. Yeah, and then we're going to go and pass the turn. So with us getting down Brudiclad, the way we can set up next turn is we go for River's Rebuke with Metallurgic Summonings. That's going to be a 6/6 token on the battlefield. We go for the -2 off of Shahili to make a copy of it. We get that trigger off of Brudiclad, and we can turn the clue token into that. So we're looking at Mirror's going to be a 6/6. We're going to have the Shahili copy a 6/6. We're going to have the actual Metallurgic Summonings token that's going to be a 6/6. We're going to have the Clue token that's a 6/6, and then we're going to have Brudiclad. So 6, 12, 18, 24 plus 4. That will be 28 points of damage coming across for next turn. So hopefully we can sequence this River's Rebuke a little bit better. I almost fired it off last turn, so I'm glad we didn't. It's really glad that we kind of waited on it. But unfortunately, sometimes when you play a long game like this, I think we're at the 22-minute mark, sometimes stuff like that kind of just... you get a little tired, you get a little fatigue going, to be perfectly honest. And the good thing about us having River's Rebuke is at this point right now, no matter what our opponent gets down, we're going to be able to kind of hopefully close this one out for next turn. But yeah, that's one of the fun things about in River's Rebuke. It's a really nice card. It is not as good as Cyclonic Rift because it's target player. Send all of their non-land permanents back to their hand, but especially in 1-versus-1 commander, being able to just bounce everything back to their hand. Simply, even if it doesn't win you the game, the fact that it's just a really nice tempo play, that always feels really good, But like I mentioned, we should be able to close out. We'll see what our opponent's going to be transmuting out of their hand. Okay, Psychosis Crawler. I was worried about something really kind of busted. Look at that. Oh, look at that that value. Let's get down the Ornithopters at 0-2. And we'll get that River's Rebuke going. And then that should be the game. Unless they got something. They do have 2 mana open. So it is entirely possible. But let's go and go for River's Rebuke. We're going to choose our opponent. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. What a definitely enjoyable game. So let's get down Trail of Evidence, get down the Metallurgic Summonings. It's going to be a 6/6. Oh, look at that. River's Rebuke. We'll make sure the coast is clear for Brudiclad to swing across. And that's going to be, yeah, look at that. Okay, let's go and go to let's go for Shahili. Create a token that's a copy of the Construct token. There we go, almost went for the Scry. I think either way we've still got it, but it's always nice. And then you're going to see the power of Brudiclad. Really fun commander. And yes, let's get that 2/1, and then we're going to have them become a copy of all of our constructs. Look at that. Look at those clue tokens. They're all constructs now. Have our own little army. Right-click, swing in, and they'll be lethal on our opponent, unless they have some sort of advance. There we go. Good game to our opponent. Unfortunately, I can't pull the chat up, but a good game. Definitely enjoyed it. You can see how fun Brudiclad can be. Brudiclad's one of those commanders that you have to... there's going to be some games where we did get lucky. We drew into some really nice cards, but there's some games that you're not going to win with Brudiclad because it is kind of a clunky commander. But if you think about Brudiclad as just a fun commander to play, think about what we got going today. We got to go for Rite of Replication. We got down Young Pyromancer. We almost had a ton of Young Pyromancer tokens on the battlefield. If you love decks that are just really fun to pilot and end up with a lot of fun board states, look at this. Turn clue tokens into some constructs. Hey, that's what Commander's all about right there. Sleeve up a Brudiclad deck. This deck's a great place to start, and you kind of tweak it from there. Because the core of the deck is, we've got 7 creatures in here. Young Pyromancer, Talran, different things like that. Actually, it popped up. And then just kind of add whatever you want to add. Add some spells in here. You don't have to put Jason here. And just kind of go to town. Have some fun. You can definitely build Brudiclad as budget as you want. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.